To joint session with me and I'm Chandrashekhar Gokhale, International Master, and with Praveen Thipsay, Grandmaster. So we are with you again. This time, our main topic would be war in the midst of a Cold War. It's 1971 candidate matches. So just to confirm all of you, can anyone confirm that we are audible and visible to everyone? That will help us to start the session.
Neelakantan P has come. He has said hello. Okay, hello Neelakantan. Can we be heard and seen? I think seems okay. Neelakantan has joined P. Neelakantan. No reply yet from him. But yes, Neelakantan. Thank you, Neelakantan. He confirms that we are audible and visible. So excellent.
That was great. So welcome guys. Today we are like last time we had described, and particularly Praveen has helped us to understand many of the inside stories of the US chess, how the chess in US started, how it advanced, and at what stage it is. Today it's little a different topic. We'll be considering a particular 1971 candidate matches. So the senior most player Praveen will definitely give you a clear idea and clear your doubts the how the players are selected for the World Championship cycle, how exactly it works. And after this, we will discuss about the same kind of matches with the chess legends played in the same said match. So I give it to Praveen. Welcome, Praveen. Your
Thank you.
information
Thank you,
is
Shekhar.
really
Yeah.
useful. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So hello, good evening, dear friends on Unacademy YouTube show. So yes, in those days I was very young and I had the pleasure of watching Fisher's news and seeing these games at a very young age. And as we know, the World Championship has to have a selection all over the world. So there used to be national championships and there used to be zonal championships, which zones were made. 12 or 13 zones were there. So all the countries were part of some zone. There used to be zonal championship. From zonal, there was interzonal championships. And 6 players from the interzonal qualified to the candidate matches. So last time I covered with Praful Zaveri the interzonal that was conducted in 1970. And Las Palmas interzonal selected 6 players. The candidate matches saw 8 players actually. The world champion, also world champion, who had lost to Boris Spassky, Petrosyan, by way of losing the world title, was automatically a member of candidates team. And the one who was second in the earlier world championship title. So the players who came first and second in 1967 interzonal were Boris Spassky and Viktor Korchnoi. Spassky defeated Petrosyan, so Spassky became the world champion, and Petrosyan came back to the candidates, and so did Korchnoi because he lost in the finals of the previous candidates. Apart from that, 6 players qualified. So they were Bobby Fischer and Taimanov and Hubner and Larsen, Ullman and Geller. So things were different at that time, and tournaments were conducted as per convenient at different spots. For example, Fischer Taimanov was conducted at Vancouver in Canada, and at the same time, Hubner Petrosyan was conducted in Spain because both the players belong to Europe. It was in Seville in Spain, and Larsen Ullman match took place again in Spain in Las Palmas, and the Korchnoi Geller match, because both the players were from Moscow, the match was conducted in Moscow. So at the same time, the 4 FIDE teams of organizers attending this championship and different championships, all these legs of the championship were conducted simultaneously at different places. Things have changed now, but in those days, professional sports wasn't easy, and chess wasn't such a recognized game. It was quite difficult to conduct. So these 8 players started playing. So Fischer was paired against Taimanov in the very first match, and Jubner was paired against former world champion Petrosyan in the very first match, and Larsen against Ullmann. Ullmann was a very strong player from East Germany then, and Larsen was a first-time qualifier again, like Fischer, and Korchnoi Geller. Geller was, I think, second-time qualifier. So this is how the matches started taking place. All the matches went in a very interesting result, sort of, except Fischer Taimanov, and that I think separated, sort of made Fischer distinct compared to others, because most of the matches were very close. But the way Fischer won his matches, it was like a storm coming and wiping out everything. The match against a well-known grandmaster like Taimanov, author of several books, candidate for several times, and one who had shown brilliant results all over. There's an opening Taimanov variation of Sicilian defense named after Mark Taimanov, and yet Fischer was able to beat Taimanov in all 6 games. It was a 10-game match, and whoever scoring 5.5 points first would be declared going to semi-finals. There were 4 quarterfinals taking place simultaneously, and the selection for semi-finals was like based on the 10-game matches, in which anybody who scored 5.5 points first would automatically qualify to the next phase. And that is how it started. So yes, the Fischer match was, I think, something which was unique in the sense the first time in the candidates after the World Championship match by Stinich Blackburn in, I think, 1892, when Stinich won all the 7 games in the match, 7-0-0. But apart from that, almost in 80 years of history, such crushing victory had not been possible. But of course, Taimanov was a strong player, and Fischer realized a lot of factors. Fischer didn't have a trainer, and Fischer all along worked on his own. But Fischer was very clear about the stamina and strength and physical strength.
Hello. I guess, guys, can you hear us? Hello, Praveen. We are not able to hear you. Hello. Guys, can you hear me? I guess we are not able to hear Praveen's voice. Are you able to hear me? Rudra Bhishek, then Rishabh. Praveen, I guess your screen is frozen. Confirm you are connected. Hi, Praveen. I think yes, he is frozen. Let me check with him. Friends, give me 2 minutes. I guess yes, he is disconnected. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I think there was some. I had to change my internet connection because one line has suddenly gone. So I had to try. Sorry for that.
Yeah, sorry guys, sorry, he is back. So he was in the middle of the information, the valuable information. I'll request him to go ahead and continue the information. Over to you, Praveen.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Well, sometimes I have two networks, so sorry for that, but I think we'll always have one of them working. So, Taimanov played very well. Taimanov was very well prepared and was very strong. He was, I think, one of the best players in the world at that time. And his variation had become very popular, the Taimanov variation, which was played by Kasparov in the World Championship against Karpov very successfully subsequently in 1985. So Taimanov knew the opening well, and he knew the game of chess very well. He played the middle game very well, and at some stage Fischer was able to bank on his mistakes, Taimanov's mistakes. Taimanov's mistakes came very late in the game, and that shows the importance of physical stamina as well mental stamina. Fischer is a player who had immense physical and mental stamina. He was able to beat his opponents even after 60, 70 moves of drawish position, only because that alertness he could maintain. I think only two players who have had such alertness other than Fischer, subsequently are Karpov and Carlsen, today's world champion. They are able to play a drawish position for 80, 90 moves, and then suddenly the opponent makes a mistake and these players win. So that's also great quality, because you can't have that sort of mental stamina for 100 moves, or such a large number. So here we see the very first game for Taimanov was, I think, very disappointing, because Taimanov had played very well in the opening and in middle game, and the game was heading towards the obvious draw by move 70, isn't it, Shekhar?
Yeah, true. So maybe Praveen, I'll show them just the opening moves and then go to the state position, because after
Yes,
the opening and middle game, it was just what we call wood pushing. So then I'll go to the state position. Okay. So here Fisher was white and Taimanov was black. Right, Praveen? We are going with the same.
yes, yes, yeah, the very first game, yeah.
So this is a Sicilian opening. Guys, I confirm you can see the pieces moving. Confirm.
No, it is a 15, 20 seconds difference, so we'll wait for. Yeah, I think we can make the
Yeah, fine.
first.
So
Yeah.
the 10 minutes lag is okay, but I just wanted to confirm that they are able to see the game, because everyone was, very eager to see the games. Okay.
Yes, moves are coming. So this is the famous Taimanov variation, E6 and knight C6.
Putting pressure on the D6.
Yes.
Bishop E3. King D7.
Yeah, there was a threat of knight C7 check, so it was not possible to save the A7 pawn. But here, instead of taking the A7 pawn, Fischer decided to play a positional game. I think that is a fantastic move. Probably Taimanov hadn't prepared that.
Yeah. Himanta, definitely, I had confirmed last time. I'll give the answer after the end of the session, not to worry. Okay, I think now this is a normal opening. After the opening, we have entered in the middle game.
Yeah, white is here. White is a
Pawn
yes
D6.
pawn. Yeah, pawn down, but white has a lot of attack.
But the G6 pawn, mostly black is in danger of losing the.
Yeah.
Can you go slowing? Okay, Akshay. Okay, fine. I'll go a little slower.
Yes. Akshay Nilakantan was the first one to join, I think. Or B Nilakantan was first one to join. Okay. I,
Akshay, the
yeah, well, you can see that exchanging twice would lead to obvious draw. Exchanging on taking on D6 instead of Rook D2 would have led to exchange of pieces and King C7 with a comfortable draw. Or King E7.
and Akshay, one more thing, like we have some more interesting games and positions, and this game is almost of 89 moves. Then it will be really difficult for us to, give you more games and more strategies and ideas. So at some point, we may be little faster.
Yeah, I think, yeah, well, if white takes on D6,
Yeah.
yeah, on the previous move, if white had taken on D6, then it would have been a drawish ending.
Now,
As it is, the position is roughly equal, but Fischer really pressed it to the best of its extent.
since white is having double bishop advantage, that's definitely compensating the extra pawn which black is having.
So excellent move B4, trapping the knight. Knight on B7 has no useful square. So A5, bishop D5.
Yeah. Now,
A nice move. There is a threat of rook E7 check. So black cannot play pawn into pawn.
yeah.
So black correctly gives up the pawn for counterplay. Very well played by black as well.
Okay, I think from here after this, maybe as Praveen has suggested, that we'll go to the concerned position directly because from this point, particularly Fisher kept on playing for a long and long time. Almost the move number 31 to almost move number 69, 70 moves. I mean, the game went on. He was definitely pushing hard with a slight advantageous position. Am I right?
Yes, hardly any advantage, slight advantage. Yes, you can see slight advantage, but a draw as a natural result.
Yeah. With a little
So we
accuracy.
go, I think, straight to move 70 probably.
Okay. So I'll just go 2 minutes before so that our viewers will get a better idea. So I go to White King G4. Finally, Black was able to exchange the pawns on C2 and B4 to his B6 and D6, and one set of rook, and this position came on board at the end of 67th move. So White played King G4, that's 68th move.
A nice pawn sacrifice by black, forcing a draw actually, forcing a drawish position.
If you look at the position, one might get a feeling that he is getting a straight outside passer. Now, the main thing is why black has done it because it's a wrong rook pawn. I think that's the main bait what black is trying to do. That's his main bait because h8 will be a black square and white is having a white square bishop. So, fantastic chances for a draw. Of course, that has to be a draw because knight is also in the center as well, black's king.
And should black be able to give knight for the pawn, it becomes a draw anyway. Rook and bishop versus rook is a draw as well. But black doesn't have to give the pawn actually. Black can just prevent the white king from getting out and there's no improvement. So easy draw. Normally players would agree to a draw in such position, but yes, Fisher still creates chances. I think that creativity is extremely important in game of chess, and Fisher always had the chance of creating something the way Carlsen and Karpo also always have shown the creativity to create new possibilities and confuse your opponent.
Yeah. Akshay, not to worry. One of the game definitely, as all of you demand one game in full, we'll go with one with a more variations and analysis. We'll show you in full. Not to worry. Only thing,
Yes, candidates matches. We have to cover 40 games, and obviously we have selected the six out of them, and it's not possible to show six games if we are stuck to one game.
so that's basically a small technical issue. So, but definitely, as few of them they want one game in full. So, Praveen, let's take one game from our this list and we'll analyze them in full.
Yes, we are going to see the best game of the match full, and maybe two best games we can show. So the Fischer Larsen and Petrosyan Fischer, I think they were the best games in the entire matches. So we can see them. Yeah, but go quickly to the final position. I think we can go. So obvious draw is appearing. Bishop is attacked. Bishop d1, and black just puts rook on g8. You could have put rook on g7, but it's the same. So bishop g4. King e4.
I think there's a lag between, so I'm just
Yes, no, I think we can just move on. Lag will continue.
how to make the advantage of a bishop pair in a game, how to proceed when the opponent has a knight and bishop. Himanta will get back to your answer as like last time at the end of the session. We'll answer all the questions.
Yes, I think in chess, generally to take advantage is not easy unless we show examples, correct? And since our topic is not bishop versus knight, there's a series of how to take advantage of bishop against knight by international master Sharad Tilak on Unacademy. If you have seen that, or if you remember, you can go through that series where he specifically dealt with 8 examples of bishop defeating knight on the strength of superiority. So there you will get details. Here our main topic is to cover the common this candidates matches. Yeah.
But normally, why should you remember if the bishops have an open position and then normally they overpower the knight.
Yes, there has to be open position. In close position, it just doesn't happen. So you see, Fisher has not been able to make any progress, and the pawn is he is unable to advance the pawn because the knight e5 comes and the bishop will be exchanged. So heading towards a easy draw. So here Fisher takes his last chance. Fisher exchanges the rooks, which makes the draw very easy. Now here's one very important factor in this position. After the rooks are exchanged, if black king is able to go from d5 to h8 or g8 or h7 or g7, then the game is draw without the knight. So it's possible to give up the knight and make a draw against bishop and pawn. It's one of the exceptional position, but for that your king has to reach the corner. Now Fisher's king is stopping the king from reaching corner, which makes Taimanov a bit anxious because he knows that it's obvious draw and there are more than one drawing lines as we can see. But here, fatigued with the 80 moves of play, Taimanov finally makes a blunder in this position. So can the viewers suggest how to draw?
He played king e4, but there was a move other than king e4 which would have drawn the game.
Both knight d3 and king d6 were leading to easy draw, as we can just quickly show the variations.
I'll go with king d6 variation.
Yes. Yeah. So pawn cannot move. Knight e5. Even knight h4 is a draw, but knight e5 is better. And the game is leading to obvious draw. The black will give knight d7 check and knight e5 check and move the king closer to the pawn and sacrifice the knight for the pawn.
Black is able to get king e7, king f8 and king g8. That would be an easy draw.
Without the knight then.
Yeah. Okay, so, but he played king e4. I think Akshay told us the right move for king e4, bishop c.
Yes. Bishop e6 is a blunder because knight f3 and it's a draw.
Yeah.
So Akshay, why can't knight f3 be played now for bishop c8?
I think
Yes, Akshay. Bishop c8. So why not knight f3 then?
I think just bishop b7 check, king moves, bishop into f3, king g5.
Yes, king g5 is an important move. h4, king g4 is a draw.
And that will be a easy pawn advance pawn march for white's h3 pawn and will turn
Yeah.
comfortably.
Yeah, you can just play out the moves. I think knight f3, no? And king g5 is forced because all other moves lead to draw.
Yeah. I hope that's clear. Okay, so bishop c8, he played king f4. Now the pawn advance starts. h4. N5. And now with the move what white played, black comes under zugzwang.
Yes, black is threatening knight e4 check and knight g5 back.
Bishop f5.
Yes, stopping the knight. And the king cannot move because the knight will be lost. So knight must move.
Again, maintaining the same zugzwang.
So again, knight must move. King moves and the knight is lost.
The only
You can see.
from g4 and d7 which is controlled with the white bishop, and the h8 cannot be stopped. The h8 will turn in a queen.
Yes, so I think Himang, you can see how to, because Himanta wanted to know how to handle the bishop. So this is the way you can see the exemplary conduction of the game by Fisher. On the drawn position, suddenly he got a chance to win because he visualized a win which is not otherwise easy. So fantastic game. And this way, I think Taimano, he was able to sort of get Taimano tired after a long game and make blunders. And as you can see, almost all the games in the match, although the match was 6-0, but almost all the games ended in blunders and in equal position. Taimano actually played the match very well, and it was almost all the games he could have been able to make a draw if he had not lost the energy perhaps at some stage, I must say.
So I guess Praveen, I think this is same pattern is followed even now. Like most of the chess players are they are really they keep their physical fit for the matches. They do exercise, including all the top GMs. I think this has
Yeah, in fact, Fischer was the first one. Fischer and Spassky were the first ones to have Botvinnik. Of course, Botvinnik specifically emphasized on importance of health.
yeah.
And prior to Botvinnik, the world champions or the players did not really recommend physical activity. Like in Capablanca, they were not very healthy players physically. But yes, Botvinnik and his students, of course, Kasparov plays football and many others. So I think the trend started with Botvinnik and Spassky. They were healthy and they played tennis during the World Championship also next year, that is 1972. So 71 we see a healthy player is winning, but also because the mind is have both the I think intellectual stamina, mental stamina, and physical stamina are
Must be
deciding the matter.
in fact
Yeah, let's come to the next game as well,
next
the
game.
fifth game of the match.
Now we go with Taimanov and Fischer.
Yes. So yet another example of how good Taimanov played generally.
I think there's a little lag. Till that time, Himanta, like you had asked one question, like is it worth playing 3 minutes game? See, anything in excess would be a bad, but definitely whenever you get yourself prepared, maybe you can just try out and try it on the board. Sometimes because nowadays everyone is going with a shorter duration. So definitely it's in little quantity. Yes, you can definitely try this. What you say, Praveen?
Yeah, I think rather I am totally against Blitz actually. Kramnik and Botvinnik and Kasparov have also criticized Blitz. In fact, I don't believe in playing Blitz in the sense that it doesn't contribute to your improving the game and doesn't improve your result. So if you are looking to become a international master or international grandmaster, then obviously Blitz doesn't help. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. But yes, if you are doing it as a fun as an amateur player, it's fine. But for a professional player, blitz should be banned.
Normally, if you follow the players who are playing, they are already international masters or grandmasters, and then they play blitz and 3 minutes. And
Yeah, because they are no longer playing to improve their game. Most of the players who play blitz are at their peak. But those who are aspiring to go ahead should avoid playing blitz. And Botvinnik played only one tournament of blitz, and he came first, and then he stopped playing because he realized that he was playing on the reflexes, and it was not creativity; it was only aping what he actually knew, and he was always striving for creativity. So he stopped playing. He said, "You cannot do anything creative in blitz. All you do is reproduce, and reproducing doesn't improve your strength."
Praveen, one of our subscriber Kahan has rightly said, so it's better to play one nice match rather than five short matches.
Yes, of course, of course. You played to 1 2 hour game, 1 hour each, and that is going to contribute. And if you can actually analyze with your opponents for another 1 or 2 hours, then I think that 3 or 4 hours are going to teach you many more times than say 100 blitz games.
Akshay, we are yet to start with the opening. This may be Kings Indian, maybe Nimzo,
No,
maybe
this is Grunfeld, yet another variation, although it is little known, but this is also Taimanov variation of Grunfeld, which is not very popular. And it is not very well known that Taimanov, but Taimanov is the player who found this move as well, Bishop G5 move directly.
of course now even these lines have a long theory, right, Praveen?
Yes, the DC4 was the for new move
Yeah.
at that time. Bishop G7 and C5 were the two common moves. And the sixth move by Fischer was a novelty. It was considered to be a bad move. But as we can see, Fischer was able to get good position. Equality, I mean.
Maybe many times it happens that theory or the computer gives you a plus or slight edge, but it's really difficult to prove it on the board. For that, you must have played many games, and your understanding for the particular positions had to be immense.
Yes, yes. And this position, of course,
Notation
Fisher.
is better for any player. It depends on who are playing and at what level they have played the said position.
So idea of bishop h6 also prevent knight g5. Once the knight has come to e5, bishop has done its duty, so bishop comes back.
Now I think it was the right time for the black white to recapture the pawn. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him at a later point.
Yes. Now white has slight advantage, but Fisher plays breaks opponent's center immediately.
Now maybe Himanta will realize black is having a d5 bishop and is trying to open up the g7 bishop as well. So he's trying to activate his bishops. Even though right now it's a two bishops versus knight, but he's trying to activate his bishop more than white.
And opening the c file, he will play rook c8 and start attacking on the queen side. Yes, another nice move, knight into knight and f6. Immediately, he breaks open the position. Black has a comfortable position now.
The idea is d2, pinning the bishop and threatening c4, winning the d5 bishop.
Yes. Bishop must move, yes. So he wants to penetrate at d7 point, and Fisher is agreeable to that. But he doesn't want the queen to reach e6. So queen e6 by queen c8 by black. Otherwise, bishop into g4 was a riskier option.
And even I think it's better for black to maintain the control of the white squares. Like
Yes, absolutely necessary. Rather than better, I think it's a matter of necessity.
yeah. Omkar will get back to your answer after the game.
Anshid has joined. Now, rapid play is also equally useless if you are not able to do something creative. But in rapid, it's possible to do something creative. That is bad, but normally classical game is correct. Yeah, I think we go straight to move 45. I think
Okay.
there's nothing much is happening. Both the players are playing well.
I'll just count to 43 move so that they will have a little time to analyze this. So queen c5 check, king g7, rook f1, queen e4, Simon of gift, queen c7 check, and definitely must have thought that now he's getting the f6 pawn. Blunder. That is because of the last 20 moves which white kept on playing black. He kept on pressing and pushing the position and practically forcing white to prove that he can draw on every move. Maybe after 25, 30, 28 okay, chances, white made a blunder. Rook into f6. Can anyone tell us why it's a blunder? Queen d4 check, double attack.
Yes, and queen d4 check.
Rook f2.
Time was resigned because of
If king
rook and rook. Yeah.
So rook f2. Now just rook a1 check. Black
I get it.
rook up.
So with this victory, Fisher made a sensational score of 6-0 win. And this match was the first one to end because, well, it was a 10-game match, but Fisher won all 6 games. So the match ended in 6 days. The other matches, Yubner Petrosyan, Petrosyan was leading 4-3, and Yubner withdrew because of some protest. He was uncomfortable with the playing conditions in the venue. So in Seville, Spain, he refused to continue, but he was in a losing hand. He was lagging behind. And Larsen Ullman, another match at Las Palmas, was a very interesting match. And Larsen won 5.5, 3.5. But again, Fischer was the first one to finish. Fischer won in 6 games itself. Larsen Ullman went 8 games. Yubner Peterson 7 games. And Korchnoi Geller also took 8 games when Korchnoi was able to beat Geller 5.5, 2.5. So anybody reaching 5.5 or 6 was being declared a champion. And Fischer's match ended quickly. So he got a few more days to prepare for his next opponent. And he had already guessed his opponent would be Larsen. So Larsen was considered to be one of the best players in the Western world in those days. And because he was from Europe, he had a large following. The way Fischer had a large following in US. Similarly, Larsen had a large following in Western Europe. And let's see how the next match. We're done with the semi-finals, and now there were finals. They were we're done with the quarter-finals, now there were semi-finals. One was between Fischer and Larsen. The other semi-final was between Petrosyan and Korchnoi. So Petrosyan Korchnoi was again conducted in Moscow because both the players belong to Moscow. But Fischer Larsen was conducted at Denver in USA.
Let's try now. In fact, I'm using the same mic and same settings. Chipol is asking, is it to use different openings or to continue with one in depth? Normally, I would suggest that you should know something about everything and everything about something. You should have 2, 3 good openings at your disposal at all the times, but you should know everything, little bit about everything of other openings. It should not happen that a player plays another opening and you just go in a surprise mode.
Sometimes it's not possible to stick to your opening because there are transpositions. One opening can transpose into another opening. And similarities in openings are also there. There are group systems. So knowledge of all openings to some opening strategy. I will not say exact moves. I believe in studying the strategy. So you don't have to know the exact moves. Once you know the strategy, you know the plan, you learn the plan, you don't have to know the exact moves. You can just play on anything.
In fact, all of you might be knowing that Praveen sir himself was expert in Sicilian, Rylopage. Am I right?
Yeah.
That was three very used to be he used to use as a weapon. Many at the
Yeah.
used to go with these lines.
Yes, I was able to change. For example, King's Indian and Gunfield. So I was able to surprise the opponent sometimes with Gunfield, sometimes with King's Indian. Similarly, sometimes with Sicilian against E4 and sometimes with E4, E5. So that surprise element did give me a lot of success.
Okay, now we go to Fischer versus Larsen.
Yes, I think this was awarded the best game of the entire candidates.
Okay, this was a French defense. Akshay will be showing the French defense opening.
This French defense, they played Winawer variation. This variation is known as Winawer variation, named after famous champion in the 19th century, Winawer.
Yes, Khan, yes. Some change in the openings will definitely help you to improve your result. I think these are the opening moves.
Petro defense, 3 knight defense, 4 knight defense are different openings depending on the moves which are played. And Petrov defense was the Russian defense popularized by the Russian champion Petrov in the 19th century. So there are many openings, and all openings are good provided you know how to play them. So this was a new move. He wants to tempt the opponent to play c4 and move back to e2, so that the pressure against d4 point is gone. So bd3, according to Ivey, it was not the best move. Ivey recommended bishop a3, but Fisher, who believes in kingside development and quick castle. So Ivey might have made his suggestion. He was also a world champion, former world champion. But I believe that bishop d3 Fisher's move eventually became the main move. So Fisher always went for initiative and attack. So Fisher's idea probably Ivey did not understand, but it was to give up a pawn. And normally here the standard move would be e into f6, but Fisher doesn't bother to save his pawn. I think that's even at such an important stage, Fisher wasn't bothered to save the pawn. He goes for attack. Let's see how brilliant attack. This game was awarded the best game of the candidates matches and the best game of the chess informant. So pawn is offered. You take the pawn and open up your king. That's the challenge Fisher is giving.
Now, one of the power of bishop. This will help you a little to understand if the bishop is having an open diagonal and opponent's king in the center. Even Fisher was willing to give a pawn as well.
Yes, if white gets bishop d6 here, black will be in a completely bad position. Bishop d6 cannot be allowed for sure.
So I think this black is forced to go for the pawn.
Yes, gambit. Yes, he has to accept the gambit. Queen into e5 was not possible.
Yeah, the bishop into c4 would come. I'll
Yes.
show them.
Yes. Yeah, I think queen into e5, bishop into c4.
Hope all of you are okay with this. Now the move is queen d4.
A nice move, preventing queenside castle. This move was missed. Long castle cannot be played because of queen into a7. So I think we can show them knight into e5. Oh, yeah, knight g6. Why knight g6 was played? Long castle cannot be played because of. Yeah, just let us quickly show them. Long castle queen into a7. Long castle queen into a7. Yeah. Or if preparatory move like b6, intending long castle instead of long castle. Then bishop h5 check. Attacking the e5 knight. Knight g6 only move. Pretty variations can come. If g6 rook into e5 is deadly, so knight g6 and queen into g7 is simplest. There are many other moves, but queen into g7 is just white gets back the pawn and white has a crushing attack anyway with a4, a5.
5 as well.
Yes, queen into d5 was even better than queen into g7 because you can't long castle again. So let's go back.
And rook into e6 will be threatened.
Yes, queen into d5. Again, long castle, there is queen a8 check coming.
Yeah.
And of course, many other moves. This position is just lost. So, okay, so queen d4 was the most move, I think the best move, no, one of the best moves in the game. There's many such stunning moves in the game, but long castle, knight g6 looks good because if queen into g7, long castle and black is in a good position.
At least he is able to cover and get the shelter for his own king.
Yes. So now he can't castle. Long castle then. a5 and queen into a both moves are very strong.
a5 and queen into s1, yeah, both.
Yes. Yeah. So open up the f line. Your king has moved from e5 to f file. So let me open the f file. My rooks want to give check to your king.
So f4, yeah.
So after f4 and f5, pawn into pawn, rook will go to e7 and give a check. So rook e8 only move.
Five, forced is into
Yes. So this game became so popular that this became a variation which black should avoid in the opening theory in the encyclopedia of chess openings. Up to here they said, and white is better. So the game was included in the opening book as how not to play with black. So bishop e6 is a blunder. Yes, rook into e6, rook into e6, queen check, queen d5 check. And the rook is lost. Or if king e8, then rook e1 check was coming.
yeah.
Last move. Or queen g8 or rook e1 better, I think, no? Yeah, rook e1 stronger. Finish. Game is over.
It's mating.
No, queen e7, rook into e7, king f8. Yeah. Yes. So king f6 was the only move. Yeah. And I think quickly we can, because we have to cover more matches. So maybe we go to the fantastic stage in the game. I think move 26 or something.
I think we're already on the 21. So
Yeah, because there are very long variations.
Yeah, we'll go.
As analyzed. Yeah. Normally in my course, I show this game for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Threatening bishop d6. So now bishop d6 falls to knight into f3 check.
Then what needs to be done now? Anyone? I think there's little lag. You're not able to see the.
Yeah, 15 to 20 seconds. Yes, we'll give them time to think. So this you can see that Fisher changed the opening and the concepts of the opening, the concept of play, the sort of dull play because of the too much of strategic way of thinking was responsible for that. And it was said by Peter Schwedler a few days back that Carlsen's style is more like Morphy than Stinnett's. So he is referring to great players in the 19th century when there are two different schools, there are different ways of thinking. So Morphy was the one who played for initiative and attack, and Stinnett played for a slower game. And Fischer was the one who again got into the quicker game, the Morphy style of play. And Fischer really played fantastic games, and this game is no exception. Yeah, we are at a position. Yes, I think viewers are able to see. So viewer, okay, king h1. Yes, bishop d6 fails to knight into f3 check. Ramakrishna, bishop d6 is a blunder. Suresh, bishop d6 is a blunder because of knight into f3 check, and your king gets weak. And Omkar's king h1 is little careful, but knight into f3 anyway. Once I take knight into f3, why should I be worse? I'm in a good position then. In fact, if black plays knight into f3 and h6 and king h7, black will win. So here came the fantastic move, Suresh and Ramakrishna and Omkar. Yes, Fischer was phenomenal, Himanta. I fully agree.
King h1, right? Wait, I think
Kahan, the knight was pinned. That's why the knight king had to move to g6. So now comes the deadly sacrifice. First sacrifice, rook into knight.
Sorry. I think rook into is 4.
No, rook into then bd6.
But queen into.
So I think, yeah, probably I think you copied down the half of the game will come to. I'll just dictate the moves. You can play the moves. So queen into e5 was played. And queen into d7. I think while picking the game, you picked only half of the game. So rook a d8. At this stage, Both the players felt that they were winning. Who was correct? We'll see. Queen into b7, and now Queen e3 check. So Larsen and Fisher both saw that King h1 would fail to Queen e1 check, and immediately. So King f1 was played. King h1 would lose immediately.
Queen e1 check. Back rank mate.
Yeah, and now Larsen played Rook d2 confidently. So apparently Fisher is going to lose. There's a mate threat on f2. And Queen c6 check Fisher played. And Rook e6. So White is threatened with a mate. White's queen is attacked. And King has nowhere to go. And this is a position where entire world thought that it was Larsen who was going to make it. The very first game of the match, Larsen had defeated Fischer in the interzonal championship, and here it was looking as if Fischer would resign here. Now, Queen c5 fails here because of Rook f2 check. Let's just quickly play Queen c5. Rook f2 check. King g1, Rook into f3 check. And Black is exchange and several pawns up. So at this stage, instead of Queen c5, Fischer found the fantastic move Bishop c5. The great move. The best move of the entire series, I must say. So mate against f2 is guarded. And if you take my queen, I take your queen and you lose a rook as well. So rook into queen, bishop into queen. And white will be a piece up. At least a piece up.
Yeah.
So black had to try rook f2 check.
One.
Rook into g2 check, only move. King into g2. Queen d2 check. King h1. Rook into queen. Bishop into rook. And although white has lost the queen, white has rook and two bishops for the queen, which is much more. And there is deadly threat of rook g1 and bd4 winning the g7 pawn. So black had to take queen into c3 and rook g1 check.
Black king will go in a story.
Although he was able to save rook g1 check and bishop into a7 and Fischer won. This game was given the best. The a pawn eventually queened, and you must see the entire game. But yes, the important part of this game is gone. A fantastic game.
Yeah.
Ramkrishna, bishop g5 check was not coming anytime.
I need to refresh this one. I'm not able to see the chat window.
The chat, I think Ramkrishna suggested bishop g5 check, but bishop was on a3. It could never come to.
Yeah. Bishop g5. Maybe he wanted to say bishop h5 check.
Yeah, but it wasn't coming anyway. Bishop.
It will be just losing the.
So I think with this deadly game and best, the Shifia started great, and this was a very first game. You can see that Fischer had won the last 7 games of the candidates tournament previous year, and then Fischer won 2 matches 6-0, and then he won first game against Petrosyan. So actually it became a 20-game continuous win run, which was sort of unparalleled in 100 years. Stinitz had won 25 games in a row in the 19th century, but in these times when Fischer was playing in 20th century, winning 20 games in a row was something fantastic. But Larsen did fight hard. And let's go to the next game where Larsen tried to beat Fischer with, I think, the 5th game of the match, where Larsen tried to beat Fischer in King's Indian defense. Fischer's King's Indian defense was a great weapon by Fischer, and he improved a lot. So this game was a brilliant game, but even the game which we are going to see isn't worse. In degree of pure brilliance, it's not a fantastic game. Next one, it was easier. This game was the best game of the entire championship.
Same game you're talking about, Fischer Petrosyan?
No, this is one game, Fischer, Larsen Fischer. Larsen Fischer. Yeah, this one. So let's go straight. Just King's Indian defense play. I think a few moves we can play, 5 or 6 moves.
Himanta is saying wish there would have been the matches between Karpov Fischer and Kasparov Fischer, and Fischer was phenomenal. Of course, yes. I mean that would have been a big treat for all the chess players. Maybe you can add Carlsen also in this.
Actually, at different times, unfortunately, what happens is when Kasparov was strong, Fischer wasn't healthy. So that's the problem. So matches couldn't take place. Unfortunately, we have to deal with that. So different times, people are in different forms. Let's go to move. It looks like a normal play. Let's go to move number 27 by white.
I'll just start with 22nd. The guy subscribers will have some idea, some feel of the position. '92. Maybe I think White is trying to play f4 if he gets a chance. Praveen, now idea in.
Yes, also, yeah, white wants to play f4, and apart from that, white wants to open up the c2 bishop. So white is just waiting for black to play f4, and black actually played f4, a stunning move,
Yeah, because otherwise
which seems that
White would be in a better position.
yes, white would like to put his knight on e4, but knight c3 is met with f3, so he had to play bishop e4. But it still looks that it seems that black is still worse because of the move f4. But let's see how Fischer conducts the attack. Knight joining the king side, queen joining the king side, and now the final assault against g2 pawn start, knight h4, threatening f3 and many other moves, of course. So queen comes to the game, yes, and now comes bishop f5, a pretty move. If bishop into f5, then queen into g2 mate. So Larsen prepares to defend the king with rook g1. If knight into g2, then rook g1. Let's see the trap, knight into g2, rook g1 with counterplay.
Now, without
Yes, if knight into g2, then rook g1 is coming. So, but here came the crushing move, f3.
rook g. So
Yes, that was he was hoping for, but Fischer continued another move forcefully, f3. Threatening mate on g2.
cutting of the diagonal.
Yes. So only move knight g3 and pawn into pawn check. King g1, bishop into e4. If knight into e4, knight f3 check, and the queen is lost.
Exchange of.
Yes, rook into f2 check. I think it's just a mate. I mean, if you move the queen, I take rook into f2 check first. So it's just mate. Rook into f2 check and queen h6. Yes, the rook is also going, but yes, rook into f2 check and queen h6 will mate. So Larsen resigned here. I think he's losing at least a full rook and probably getting mated anyway. If you play queen a2, you lose the rook, and otherwise you lose f2 pawn and queen h6, and they'll be mate. So fantastic game. And with this game, the match ended in 6-0 result for Fischer, and that is how Larsen was eliminated. In the other semi-final, the former world champion Petrosyan was able to beat Korchnoi in a tough match, 4.5, 5.5, 4.5, where it was played in Moscow, and it was a great match as well. But Petrosyan showed his class, and it appeared as if Fischer would face his real challenge in the final of the candidates, and it actually did. As we can see, the first game of the match, Fischer-Petrosyan match, which was conducted in USA, it was conducted in Buenos Aires. Actually, it had to be a sort of neutral country, so the match was conducted in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where it wasn't either USA or USSR, because one player from USA and one player from USSR. So they had a neutral country, like a neutral umpire, a neutral place, Buenos Aires. And the match looked very interesting. The very first game was won by Fischer after a long struggle. We can just quickly see the highlight of the first game of the match.
Same game
Uh, yeah,
or
not this one. No, not this one. Not this one. This is, I think, the sixth, the seventh game. This is the seventh game, eighth game. Yeah, this is the no. This is the second game which Fisher lost. The first game which Fisher won.
I think this is the one which Fisher won.
No, no, this was subsequent. I think it was the seventh round game. This one is seventh round. Yeah, the very first game of the match. These games are all available on various chess sites, and you can really learn. But
Third one.
you have to. I think Himalaya, he wants to know, quick question: King's Indian defense against King's Indian attack. It's possible. What is most important is when the world champions and top players are playing a game for 5 hours, we need to take a lot of time to study those games. If we study the games in 5 minutes, that means we learn nothing. Not this one. I think this is the third game of the match. I was referring to first game of the match.
First.
No, this is Taimanov one. The first game of Taimanov match, that was the first game of Petrosyan match.
Fisher.
Sorry, viewers, we are just getting at the right game because it played a lot of importance. But what's important is that Petrosyan still played the match very well. And at the end of 5 games, the players were actually tied with 2.5, 2.5. So it was a great achievement because Petrosyan wasn't really doing badly. In fact, Fischer's 20 games run was halted by Petrosyan when Petrosyan crushed Fischer in the second game. First game was brilliantly won by Fischer, so that completed his 20 continuous wins against strong opponents. But then came the second game of the match where Petrosyan crushed Fischer in the most beautiful game of the entire match. So that was very great game, I must say.
So I guess here we come to an end of the class today. I guess we have able to answer all the questions.
Yeah, we can perhaps show we can just perhaps show the two or that game particularly. Are you able to trace that?
Wait, because just now we had checked it earlier. It was I'm not able to get
The first game of the match. Yeah, but what we can do is the one game won by Petrosyan. Please go to that then. In that case, okay, don't not this game. Yeah, let's go to this game. Go to move number. I think let's go. It's a very famous Grunfeld defense. And E3. We'll go to the move 5 E3. Bishop F4 and E3. This is the Petrosyan variation. So the way Taimanov played Taimanov variation of Grunfeld, Petrosyan played Petrosyan variation of Grunfeld, and it was really good. And we go straight to move. I think down. Please go down. Move. I think about 15. Only 14. Move 14. Yes. Here Petrosyan made a fantastic decision. Black player Bishop F5, and Petrosyan gave up his powerful bishop and launched a crushing attack against Fischer's king. Knight D4, giving away the C5 pawn, and then exposing the king. Knight into F5, G into F5, castles. And now black cannot castle because of E4 and Queen G5 check. So Queen A5, and now came powerful continuation. Pawn attacked on F5. He pushed F4, C4, F into E3, and now comes the best move of the. Surprisingly, in the Fischer-Larsen match, Bishop C5 was the best move in the entire year that was played, and here in the entire this match, the best move comes here: C4, C5. So surprisingly, both the things are related to C5 square, and a fantastic move. And Fischer was checkmated very soon. Let's see the variation: Queen A4 check, King F8, Rook C D1.
Queen?
Yes, Queen A4 check, Queen A4 check, King F8.
Queen D2. Yeah.
Yes, Queen A4 check, King F8, Rook C D1. And Fischer confessed that he was planning to play E2 here. A nice variation which he subsequently rejected. Let's see E2.
Yeah, bishop into h2 check. Is he thinking about?
No, E2, yeah, E2, rook into D2, bishop into H2 check, king into H2, pawn into F1 queen. And black is exchanged up. That was Fischer's original idea, but he saw when Petrosian offered this, he saw that D6 would lead to mating attack. D6, and if ED6, then queen D7 and mates on F7. And if no ED6, if E6, just go back to move. E6, then D7, threatening D8. So king G7, queen G4 check, king H6, bishop into E6. Fantastic sacrifice. If pawn into bishop, then queen into pawn check, and the rook check will come. So bishop into E6, rook G8. The variation is really brilliant. Rook G8, and then he starts with queen checks. So queen check. Yeah, queen H4 check, king G6, bishop F5 check, king into F5, rook D5 check, king E6, queen E4 check, king F6, queen E5 check, king G6, queen G5 mate. So this fantastic variation, as analyzed by Petrosian, who showed it subsequently, Fischer realized, and Fischer didn't play, but he was in lost position. So at the end of game 2, the score was 2-2. At the next 3 games ended in draw. But then came Fischer's fantastic spree again, and Fischer won the last 4 games of the match, making it 6.5, 2.5. So this was a 12-game match, and after 2.5 setback, Fischer won the last 4 games, that is making the score 6.5, 2.5, and thereby qualifying to the World Championship against Boris Spassky, which was played next year at Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland. So, okay, viewers, I think we have covered this candidates' matches, and I think you must go through these games, but analyze every game for 3 or 4 hours. Otherwise, you won't really understand anything.
True. More the analysis you make will be better for you. Will help you to improve. For sure.
Yes, and subscribe to Unacademy because they will give you live lectures apart from YouTube sessions. Because here you have YouTube sessions, but live lectures will also be there, interactive lectures, and that will be great fun, I think.
Having any questions? I guess me and Praveen have tried our best to cover all the questions and answered all of them. If any question left out, please let us know right now. We can definitely answer those questions, those queries. I think, yes, Praveen, I think we have covered all the questions.
Yes, and thank you viewers for watching, and thank you for your nice questions because it enables us to improve in our training possibilities because we know what the just want to know.
If no queries,
yes, your feedback, questions are very interesting.
Okay, so nice to see
Bye-bye.
you. And